Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'll be doing an ownership costs and features review on this 2017 Range Rover Sport Autobiography. Now, I don't own this car in any way. I can't afford a pencil sharpener, let alone a huge Range Rover. However, over the past 3 years I've spent a lot of time with this car and I've seen many of the invoices, so therefore why not talk about purchasing cost first. So let's just say you're in 2017 and you've just specced up your brand new Range Rover Sport Autobiography. I'm going to use this car for example. So this car, brand new, costs £92,665.80 with all the mod cons, the side steps, the black pack, all the things you want. I'm guessing you're going to PCP the car because that's what a lot of people do nowadays. So the owner of this car put down a deposit of £35,850, which is quite reasonable, and that results to your monthly payments coming to £590. And with all that calculated, with all the interest, blah blah blah, the final repayment after 3 years is £47,500. Oh Lord. And it doesn't end there, because you still have to tax the car, which costs £500, and then you have to insure it, and knowing it's a Range Rover and it gets stolen a lot in the UK especially, it's going to cost at least £2,000. And now let's talk about running costs with the 2017 Range Rover Sport, and it's actually quite efficient. This V6 3-litre diesel doesn't burn that much fuel that you think it does, because I think we're doing around 35.8 mpg, and that's from just town driving. But if you really care about fuel saving and whatnot, you want to save money, I would advise you to go for the BMW X5 of this generation, of this year. Onto why I'm underneath this bonnet then in this review of this Range Rover Sport. That's because after 2017, all Range Rover Sports that have diesel engines have to use AdBlue. Nowadays though, most people call it diesel exhaust fluid, and the cap's on the left side on the Range Rover Sports for you to fill it in. And what it does is basically filter out all the harmful gases that come out your diesel exhaust. Now I'm all for that and saving the environment and whatnot, but you have to fill it up quite frequently, and if you don't, your car won't actually start. Now I bet you didn't know that. Next up, I want to talk about the design of the Range Rover Sport, mostly because it still looks absolutely amazing. Even though this is the pre-facelift model, it still appears like you own the road. As for wear and tear though, the side step tends to get quite a bit of abuse, so the rubber on them starts ripping off, and the key fob's plastic cover thing is starting to peel off as well, strangely. Next up, we move on to the front side of the 2017 Range Rover Sport. And there's an extremely strange feature in the headlights, which I want every Range Rover owner to know about. So at night, when you're doing a little maneuver, these side LEDs tend to turn on. That's great and it helps you to see. However, they're a different colour to the main headlight. These headlights, the LED ones, are like a misty halogen type colour, whereas the side LEDs are like an ice white LED. And when they're both turned on, it looks so strange. Next up though, I want to talk about the rear seats in the Range Rover Sport. Reason being, because now you get a stretched wheelbase, resulting in way more space in the interior, and especially in the rear seats. I'm sure if you've sat in the previous generation model Range Rover Sport, you didn't get any of this. So the rear seats were actually quite tight and there wasn't much space. Next up, I want to talk about the rear infotainment systems on the Range Rover Sport, and not gonna lie, I think it's probably the best in its class. I think it tops off BMW and Mercedes. I think it's probably the easiest one to use. But classic Jaguar Land Rover, the remote control for the screens has just started to show some wear and tear. Onto a little hidden feature in the Range Rover Sport, and if you can see on the B pillar, you actually get this aluminium badge, and it just shows a picture of a Range Rover. I think it looks like a Range Rover Velar, to be honest with you, like a concept Range Rover Velar, but it's got nothing to do with that. Instead, it's supposed to show that the car is all aluminium constructed. Cool, but unnecessary. Nevertheless, so there's one thing I have to say about Jaguar Land Rover, and that is they really know how to design interiors. Bear in mind, this is the second generation Land Rover, and this came out in 2013, and the materials on the dash still feels upper class. It all feels extremely soft. The steering wheel, the dash, this, that, seats, everything. Even though the materials on the dash and everything else feel very nice, there's just two downfalls. First off is this piano black plastic thing that gets scratched so easily, and it just looks so cheap. And the second thing are these seats. Because it's leather, it just starts to discolor so quickly and early on in their life. However, you know, it's a good way to figure out how many miles this car has done when you're trying to buy it secondhand. Next up, the Range Rover comes with an auto tilt feature in the side mirrors, and what this means is when you put the car in reverse, the mirrors tilt down automatically, and the benefit of that is you don't whack your expensive alloys on a curb. And also, whilst we're talking about mirrors, you also get a nice puddle light illumination at night. Another useful feature in the 2017 Range Rover Sport is this gear selector. So, you know, when you reach your destination of wherever and your car's in drive or reverse, you could actually just turn the car off and it'll put it back into park for you instead of screaming at you to put it in park. But it actually makes a really funny noise when it's in sport, and then you turn the car off and it'll just go back into park. Anyway, look, I could go on and on for hours about all the features in the Range Rover Sport, but I don't want to waste your time. So I've made a little video on Instagram showing all the free interesting features that you should know about in the Range Rover Sport. So head over there and watch that video if you want to. Anyway, that's it from me. In terms of what I think of the 2017 Range Rover, well, you know, it's a great off-roader, and if you do plan on going off-roading, then go ahead and buy it, because all the tech in this car is built for basically off-roading anyway. But if you don't and just buy one anyway, then I think you might just have a slight materialistic personality. You okay?